Bluegrass Jam Along is proud to be sponsored by Collins Guitars and Mandolins, each and every one built from the sound up in Austin, Texas. This episode is also brought to you by Peghead Nation, the home of roots music instruction. If you want to improve your playing, join me and thousands of other pickers getting better every day at pegheadnation.com. Hi, this is Matt, and you're listening to Bluegrass Jam Along, the podcast for anyone and everyone who loves bluegrass. Hey everybody, welcome back to Bluegrass Jam Along. This is your Bluegrass Briefing for Monday the 18th of November 2024, which means it's nearly the end of the year. How did that happen? It's been such a great year on the podcast. I've had some amazing guests. What I might do, if I can find the time, is do another sort of retrospective like I did the end of last year, just to round up some of the highlights from the interviews. For anybody who's missed any bits, I know I do put out a lot of content, and I'm sure not everybody manages to keep up with everything. So I might do that if I get the time. Thank you to everybody who donated to the Hurricane Helene fundraiser with Bryan Sutton to benefit the IBMA Trust Fund. We raised a total of $7,250, and that's fantastic. So many people are still struggling with the after effects of the hurricane. So much is going on. That money will help. Every dollar of that will help, so thank you. If you've missed anything on the podcast recently, I had a great interview with Sierra Hull about she's got a record coming out next year. She's done some cover versions, put out a couple of holiday singles, just chatting about how her year has been, which was a great chance to catch up with Sierra. Always fun talking to her. And last week we had Sarah Jaros talking about Blue Heron Suite, record I love, which is coming out again on vinyl and CD. And we had a chat about that, about how that sort of came together, what it means to her, how it fits into her sort of timeline as an artist, and sort of personally, I really enjoyed that one. Do check that one out if you haven't. And both of those two actually are people who've put music out. Well, Sierra's isn't out yet, but she's recorded it. But two people who've had Fresh Grass commissions and had work that started as part of that. And I've talked to so many people on the podcast who've done Fresh Grass commissions: Jacob Jolliffe, Becky Buller, Jerry Douglas, and then other great music. People like Aoife O'Donovan's last record came out of a Fresh Grass commission. Mr. Sun's album of them playing Duke Ellington's version of Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite was one of those. And so the next episode we got coming out on Wednesday is Oli Chanoff from Fresh Grass. And I caught up with him to ask about this, because I've just become really interested in how the commissions work and why they do them, and just to talk through some of that. So I had a really fascinating conversation with Oli about Fresh Grass as an institution, but also just some of the work that they've helped bring into the world. Really enjoyed that. That is coming out this Wednesday, so do stick around for that one. And then the week after that, I've got an episode with Charlotte Karivic, who is a British guitarist who I'm sure a lot of you know. She has a new record of instrumentals out, which is superb, so I'm chatting to her about that. Lots of good stuff coming. I've got some more stuff lined up. I'm working through to the end of the year with some really cool guests. Got some dates booked in, got a couple of people confirmed, but I haven't got the dates yet, so do stick around through the rest of November and December. Got some really good stuff coming, and there'll be some more good stuff next year. That is it for podcast news. Let's move on to the news and announcements, which is the segment we call Church Street News. And I've got a couple of bits for you. First up is Blue Ridge Guitar Camp, Bryan Sutton's Blue Ridge Guitar Camp, which is happening May 28th to June the 1st next year, and applications are open now. That just looks like a phenomenal thing. When I was at IBMA, I was chatting to Nully from Collins Guitars, and he was just saying it was an absolute kind of life-changing experience. And the interview I've done with Charlotte Karivic, she was one of the tutors last year, and she would just only had good things to say about it. So it sounds like an extraordinary experience. If you are able to get to North Carolina end of May, beginning of June, and you want to be taught by, jam with, listen to, hang out with some of the finest guitarists on the planet, that is your opportunity. So I'll put a link in the show notes. Go and have a click and find out what you need to do if you want to go. But yeah, Blue Ridge Guitar Camp 2025. Go and check that out. And the second thing is, Alison de Groot, clawhammer banjo player, has a new Artist Works course that is out now, teaching like the basics of clawhammer banjo through, to advanced stuff, tunings, techniques, loads of tunes. I am going to have a watch of that because I am about to buy a banjo and learn a bit of clawhammer. I've got a guitar listed on eBay that I need to sell first, and then I'm going to buy myself a banjo. So I will be checking that one out. I'll put a link in the show notes. Go and have a look at that as well. So that's Blue Ridge Guitar Camp. Applications are open, and Alison de Groot's new Artist Works clawhammer banjo course. Go and check those out. Which means next up is The Grass is New, which is some new releases. Stuff I've put in the playlist for you to listen to. And first thing up is Seth Mulder and Midnight Run. I managed to see them play at IBMA in September and bumped into Seth in the bar at the hotel and had a chat. And it was really cool to see them. So they've got a new single out, which is called Looking Past the Pain, which I have put in the playlist. Go and check that out. Stillhouse Junkies have a single out with Rachel Bayman called Hollow Bones, which is also really cool. That is in the playlist. High Horse, who I mentioned on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, they've got their album's coming out early December, but they've got a new single featuring Jacob Jolliffe, who produced the album. And the song is called Tombstone Territory, so go and have a listen to that as well. Jordan Tice has a new single called Mean Old World, and it's from an EP he's got coming up in January on Fiddle Records called Badletsville. And this song features Paul Coet, Aoife O'Donovan, Andrew Marlin and Patrick McGonigal. Really like that as well. That's on the playlist. Go and listen to that too. And the final thing is Charlotte Karivic, who I was talking about at the top of the episode. She's got a brand new record called Sensible or Otherwise, which is an album full of kind of bluegrass flat pick guitar instrumentals that she's written. Sort of, if you love those sort of classic instrumental fiddle tune original albums of the 80s and 90s, this is going to be right up your street. It is so good. I really been enjoying this one. The variety on it is great. Her tone is great. She's such a great player. It is not on the streaming services yet. It is on Bandcamp. You can go and listen to it on Bandcamp, and I'm going to stick a link in the show notes, and I would urge you to go. In fact, I'm going to insist you go and listen to it because it's so good. So that's your new releases for this week. Seth Mulder and Midnight Run's Looking Past the Pain, Stillhouse Junkies and Rachel Bayman's Hollow Bones, High Horse's Tombstone Territory, new single from Jordan Tice called Mean Old World, and Charlotte Karivic's album Sensible or Otherwise that you are going to go and listen to on Bandcamp. It's all in the playlist, which is on Spotify. There's a link in the show notes. Go and check it out. It's full of nearly a year's worth of new music and some random other bits. Go and fill your ears with it. And the next bit is Scroll On Buddy, which is just something I've spotted on the social channels and wanted to share. And it's that time of year. Baylor Fleck and Abigail Washburn do an extraordinary thing where they basically say, if you send us your address, we will send you a Christmas card. So if you want to be on Baylor Fleck and Abigail Washburn's Christmas card list, I'll stick a link in the show notes. Go and give them your details and they will send you a Christmas card. And send them one. Send them one back. It's such a lovely idea. I can't quite believe they do it. They must be nuts. But I put my name down. I'm looking forward to getting one, and I'm going to send them one. Do the same. And so the last bit is just what I've been listening to this week, and it's a record by, sort of following on the clawhammer banjo theme, Brad Kolodner, who I mentioned recently has got a new record out with George Jackson, but it's a record of his own called Chimney Swifts that came out a little while ago. Really good. Really been enjoying that. It's just a really lovely record of clawhammer banjo tunes with a couple of other instruments on there, and it's a great sound, and they've got a lovely feel to them, and just really good playing. Check out Chimney Swifts by Brad Kolodner. I'll stick a track off the album in the playlist, but I'll stick a link to that record as well on one of the streaming services so you can go and have a listen to it. Please do. It's superb. Which just leaves the sort of usual wrap-up stuff, really. BluegrassJamAlong.com. All the episodes, all the backing tracks, all the chord sheets, sign up for the mailing list, find me on social media, all of that stuff. And just to remind you that if you do want an ad-free version of this, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts and you will get that, and it will help support Bluegrass Jam Along and help me keep this thing going. That's it. Thanks for listening. As always, do come back on Wednesday. I've got the Fresh Grass interview with Oli coming up for you. That's it. Have a great week. I'll see you next time, and happy picking. Bluegrass Jam Along is proud to be sponsored by Collings Guitars and Mandolins, making some of the finest guitars and mandolins in the world since the 1970s. Visit collingsguitars.com and find out why.